I think a book fails when it makes you feel stupid, but simultaneously you think it is stupid.
Yes. Hey, everyone. I'm Becca, he's Matt, and this is Book Love Podcast.
Hello, Becca. What's up, girl? What's up, sister?
We did it. I finished it. Finally.
Was it as much of a struggle for you as it was for me?
I'm so glad that I got to hear what was coming before I had to read it. It was very helpful for me.
Like, I don't know about you, but usually when you get into these fantasy novels, even if it's not a great book, usually the last 15 or 20% of the book is just high octane awesome.
Yes.
And even the end of this book, I struggled.
Yes.
Okay, well, all right. I'm glad we're on the same page. That makes me feel really, really good. Mayhaps we should do like a high-level overview and then...
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Crowntide is the fourth of 5 books in the Lightlark Saga, but it's the last one that's currently out. It was published just a couple months ago, December 2025, and a hardcover edition clocks in somewhere around 450 pages. The story begins with Oro and Grimm as they are left reeling when Isla disappears with Lark back over to the homeworld of Skyshade.
Isla battles the harsh and brutal elements of Skyshade until she is captured and tortured by Cronin.
Oro and Grimm work in a very tentative alliance to try to get back to Isla or to get Isla back, and they end up creating a new portal to Skyshade,
in which Isla summons Grimm to her as she makes a daring escape. However, Cronin foils all of her plans and just erases Grimm's memories of Isla.
Trapped, Grimm searches to understand the gaps in his memory as Isla attempts to woo Grimm and remind him of what he's missing. Wink, 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 nudge, nudge.
Along the way, possibilities for the past, the future become more and more complicated as the prophecy continues to get confusing, and fate twists and turns for Oro, Grimm, and Isla.
Our story comes to a heated climax as Isla and Grimm duel for their freedom and their realm's survival from Cronin's imminent invasion of Lightlark.
In a twist, Grimm sends Isla back to Oro and Lightlark just in time for the intergalactic invasion to begin.
When you say it like that, it doesn't sound half bad.
And this is where sometimes I get stuck of like, is it me and my mood? Or is it the book? Or is it other timings? Who knows? And quite frankly, I don't care. I would you give this book a try because I still really liked the first book. And that hasn't changed. But I don't feel compelled to read the next book.
Did you rate this book?
I did.
My God, we've swapped. Okay.
Right? I was like, maybe I should do my due diligence. I had thoughts and opinions. Let's do it. So let me find it. I'm like way stuck in different parts of this app. Do. All right, are you ready for this
book? I finished this book before you.
You did.
I had a good week to actually review, but I hated on this so hard last week when we talked that I just was like, nope, we are compartmentalizing and moving on. So I am now Becca, and I have not rated this. So what did you end up actually rating? How did you mat this book?
I gave it a 2.5. I said that it was a mixture of plot and character-driven stuff. Was there strong character development? In my opinion, no. Were the characters lovable? In my opinion, no. Were the flaws of the characters a main focus of the book? Yes. And my simple commentary was, I knew better.
I love how you hedged all of that within my opinion.
Well, that's the beauty of reading. It's
I know.
all opinions, right? And so I don't want to yuck someone else's yum. Yeah, I am. We talked about DNFing this book, right? And I think there are many people of the mindset that once you get to a certain point in a book, you don't DNF it. And I just don't align with that theory very well. Routinely get halfway through a book and will DNF it. And by routinely, I mean like once in a blue moon. It's more common that I read half of the book, put it down for several months, and then pick it back up later.
I think if I was not reading this with you, I probably would have DNF'd this series back in somewhere in book 2 or 3.
I was going to say at the end of one.
Um, okay, you don't want to yuck people's yum. I get it. I agree with you that reading is all opinions. That being said, this is not an opinion. This book was bad. That is a fact. How bad it is the opinion. That's my stance I'm coming down on.
Okay.
I think if I'm going to give this a rating live, wow, this is hard. Is this what you have to do every time?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah. That's why it gets weird.
1.5 or 2. Somewhere around that. I think you're right, it's mainly plot driven. I think it's mainly plot driven. Of course it's a mix, but I think it's mainly plot driven. The characters do not develop at all. If anything, they develop. Like they develop, they devolve. And I will agree with you that the characters' flaws are a main focus, but I think that's actually a bad thing because I think the book doesn't exist without the main characters' flaws. Like the book is nothing but their flaws.
Well, and to your point, the flaws are the main focus, yet somehow the plot is also the main driver. And normally, if flaws are the main focus, usually characters are the main driver.
Which is really messed up to think about. I will say that I do feel like maybe somewhere around 60 or 70% of the way through the book, it really focuses on characters for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's essentially when Isla's trying to woo Grimm and Grimm's trying to figure out his. But because Alex Aster doesn't tell you anything ever, the characters still didn't have development because we just know that they're trying to do these things, but we have no idea what's actually happening. Ever. Ever. Okay, so we both didn't necessarily enjoy this particular book. Do you have any specific topics or themes or reasons from the book that made you unhappy?
For me, I think you talk a lot about it in regards to Alex leaves us out of what's going on behind the scenes a lot. So you don't really feel the compulsion to continue reading to figure out what is in the background that you need to know, that you're going to get. And instead, she just slaps it into a chapter at the end, and you're like, well, that was ungratifying.
Really Becca, I really like that opinion. I I recorded a video for the podcast just all on myself where I bitched and complained about plot twists. And I don't even know when that might already be out by the time people are listening to this. I have no idea. But like it was fueled because I've been reading the Blade of Shadows series by Sarah Samuels where the plot twists are immaculate. They are like next level masterclass. But then I was flip-flopping with that with this series where the plot twists are bullshit. And so in order to make that video, I really went at it from like, what is a plot twist and what do I want in a plot twist? But I've really been thinking about what is a plot twist, and I've been hating Alex Aster's plot twists because I don't consider them to be plot twists. I really like your opinion because it actually attacks the same thing from a reading experience perspective, not an academic perspective. Like when you say there's no reason to turn the page to figure things out, like you have no desire, like that is nailing it. You nailed it. That is it. That is it.
Like, I'm not reading, I'm listening to a book series right now, and the first book, the whole time you're trying to figure out what is the character's main gift, because she keeps alluding to it, you kind of get these little hints to it, you're like, "I need to know, and I know I won't know until the last page, so I have to keep reading and listening to get there," and so I, like, devoured that audiobook quickly. In fact,
if
I finished it
Alex
before.
if Alex Aster wrote that story, she would have told you that the main character doesn't have a gift. And then on like the fifth to the last page, suddenly the character would have a gift and it would just spew out of her and she'd save the world.
And that's the thing, the character is, like, in school, and everyone at school knows she has no gift, right? But she keeps alluding to it. She knows she has a gift. She just thinks it's unsafe, so she keeps it to herself. And so you're like, "Well, what's unsafe? I need to know. What is this gift that you think is so unsafe?"
You know, Wikipedia, like I went to a whole bunch of different sources to understand plot twists. And so I want to get your opinion on this. Wikipedia cites, however credible Wikipedia is, but Wikipedia cites that um, a way in which you can do a plot twist is to withhold information from the reader.
Mhm,
And I took issue with that because, in my opinion, how can you twist something that doesn't exist?
mhm.
If you're withholding it, it's more like narrative hostage situation, and you need to call the FBI or something. But uh, I think, I think hearing what you just said about this other book series, I think you can withhold information, but you have to withhold the details. Like you have to tease it and you have to let people know that this thing is. So then it exists, even
Mhm.
if, but I don't think Alex Aster does that. My brain is going a little twisty with that. And maybe you can more intelligently speak on it a little bit.
Yeah, you have to have some level of foreshadowing or alluding to something that is coming so that you can be excited and enthralled by it, right? I mean, that's like AP Lit 101, right? Is like foreshadowing that kind of pulls you in. And not the kind that you need to annotate the sides margins of the book per se, but that concept.
Okay. Other than this like plot hostage situation, or anything else that made you go, with this novel?
You had kind of talked about it when we were reviewing the plot in the other one. The spicy scenes, not poorly, but because we don't authentically care about the characters, they just don't feel right.
I think that's a nice way to put it. I think I think a completely different way to put it is that is not how I would have sex.
Like, Isla's trying to woo her past husband, but she also could just marry Oro. So then it's like, why are we caring about this husband that has had his memories wiped and he cannot figure out why he would have ever loved you, despite you pushing him through all these memories that you have in this forest,
Mhm.
and he still doesn't think that those are worth it. So, and I don't know, maybe that's just a strong opinion of me, but like, if my partner is no longer enthralled with me and is no longer interested, that's cool. That's cool. I'm not wasting my time anymore. I am worthy and I can walk to another corner and find my own self-worth.
You know, I think one of the reasons why the whole wooing thing didn't work for me is just because you lose your memories doesn't mean that you change. Like who you are doesn't change. But it really feels like in this book that who Grimm is changed.
Yeah, it was like a factory reset.
Yeah. And like one could argue that, oh, he's just acting that way. Okay, that's fine. But we get his perspective and we get his inner monologue, and he has changed. It's not just a show. And so I don't think the whole like taking away the memories worked very well. I don't think it was written very well. And I didn't enjoy that.
And it would have been nice because it's kind of a reflective plot line, right? Isla has her memories taken away of Grimm. She gets them back slowly but surely. So it would have been interesting to see more of that synergy with Grimm, but there's like none of that. Like, there's not a whole lot of Isla being like, I remember the weirdness of being forced back into these memories I had of Grimm when I didn't really understand it. Like, I hope she's having those thoughts in the background, but none of those
Yeah.
thoughts come to the surface of like, oh, that's why she's hanging on.
Mm-hmm. 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 I think major thing that threw me for this book was the magic system. Listen, this series has never had a good magic system. But like that's okay because you don't need to have a wheel of time, level magic system in every book. You can have a wave a wand and say some magic words and shit happens level of magic system like Harry Potter, and it all works. It's fine. But like this series has always just sort of been magic is because magic is. But then in the third book, we really went into like blood magic and intent and bone magic and elements and like and then in this book it just none of that matters and things just happen and it's none of it's explained and it's just what.
Yep. And on one hand, yes, we're in a new planet, so rules of magic change. But also in other series we've read, that's actually maybe not entirely true, or maybe they. Uh, I felt uninformed as a reader.
I think a book fails when it makes you feel stupid but simultaneously you think it is stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
How can something so stupid make you feel stupid? You know what I mean? Like, and
Yes.
I largely felt that for a lot of this book.
Yeah.
Whereas in book 3, when it was going like deep into like the blood magic and the bones, and I was like, this is fascinating. I don't feel like I know what's going on. I want to learn what's going on.
Yes. Like 3
And
was compelling.
yes,
The compulsion left for 4.
yeah, yep. Mm. Okay. I think those were the 3 main reasons I didn't enjoy this book. Did you have any others? Like we talked about the crap plot and plot twists. We talked about the crap spice and we talked about the crap magic system. What did you have anything else?
Super, super duper minor, but we changed point of views many times in the chapter, so each chapter was named after the point of views. So reading being an ebook reader, I didn't know where I was in the book because the chapters didn't really have names and the page numbers don't align with hard copies and whatnot. So
Mhm.
I I'd still like chapters to have names or numbers, even if it's named after the point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. Um Actually, speaking of the chapters, there was something that I noticed. This might be a little bit more of a nitpick and maybe a little bit more academic, but I think it's because of what you just said, that the changing of chapters, the point of views. Then with the frequency, right? So when you read a fantasy book, you change chapters, you change point of views, and now suddenly it's 2 weeks in the future, and like that's okay, that works. Um, but in this book, the author decided to change point of views in the middle of something. So, like, it would be the middle of a torture scene from Cronin, or it would be in the middle of lovemaking between Grimm and Isla. And I know that's like a really cool rhetorical exercise to be like, let's talk about this sex scene from the dude's point of view and the girl's point of view. But when other chapters that switch point of views have these big time jumps without any sort of preamble, and now you're doing it in the like, it's like a pacing issue, and it feels weird, and it makes you think, where am I? Where are we? What's the timeline? And I didn't enjoy that.
Yeah, because your point about timeline, was this book over a week or was this book over a month? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know that
As-
I need to know, but you have no frame of reference to know.
I mean, you kind of want to know because it starts with Isla has a week to live,
Yeah, and then it ends with 3 weeks to live.
something like that. And I know she drinks some magic potion water stuff in the middle of the book that will extend her life a little, but we don't know what a little means. And then the timeline, you have no idea what's going on. And yeah, was it a month? Was it a week? Was it 2 weeks? Was it 4 months? I don't know.
Yeah,
Does
because your
time
point
work differently on that planet than it does on Lightlark? I don't know.
Yeah, because your point, yeah, she had 1 week to live when she transported, and then by the time she got to Cronin, I felt like we had had a week gone. Somewhere in there was an elixir, and then she had 3 weeks till Cronin was gonna invade her home planet. But then we cut that short, and we were going early, but were we going 1 day early, or were we going 2 weeks early? I couldn't really tell.
Yep. Not a clue. Not a clue. Okay. Uh we did predictions at the end of part 2, right?
If we did,
We
I
did.
didn't have any, and finishing them, I still have none.
Uh I suppose we should answer two questions. Would you recommend this book? I know you touched on this in the beginning, but like would you recommend this book to others? Would you still recommend the series to others?
I think so. I think I would recommend 1 through 3 to others and be like, if you read past that, that's your own journey.
I think I'm sort of with you. I would tell people to read book 1 and say it is now a judgment call on your part what you do with that. But I will recommend book 1. Um book 4, don't. Okay. And then the second question, are we going to say there's a prequel or two, however that works, and there's going to be book 5. Will we be reading those?
So the prequel you're talking about is Oro and Grimm's perspectives, and I am not interested enough in their perspectives to read them. And the 5th book is not out, and I don't think I could reread the series after it does finally come out to have enough context to read it. So maybe not.
Oh, did Becca just DNF a series? What?
I think I DNF'd a series. Check in 6 years when when the next one is out.
My answer to those questions was going to be I would like to do what Becca wants to do because I just want to hang out with my book bestie. And if you don't want to read them, I am a effing okay with that decision.
Which I think that means it's time that we dive into some of the books we picked up in Crozet.
I know we bought an entire series in Crozet. We also bought other things. So, ooh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so we are going to read a series of like murder mysteries by the lovely Catherine Shellman. They take place in Prohibition jazz era New York City, the 1930s. And I think it's going to be freaking awesome. I don't think they're going to be overly complex books, but I think they're going to be lots of fun to read.
All I know is I think outside of the series I'm listening to right now, I might need a break from romantasy. And so a little historical fiction sounds phenomenal.
Amen. I because we've read we read Lightlark pretty hard, and then I've been reading the Blade of Shadow series pretty hard. It's been like nonstop fantasy, but all of 2025, you and I would read a fantasy book, and then I would go read something not fantasy or romantasy, and I got to go back and forth. And for the last like month and a half, it's just been straight fantasy, and my brain is going to explode. That is our not so loving review of Crowntide by Alex Aster. And I think it's a good place to put a bookmark in it for now.
Yep. And we would love to know what you all think. What did you think of Crowntide? Do you have opinions that are different than ours? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? Please join the conversation. Our contact information is in the description below.
Yep. And as Becca just held up, hold it up again. We will be back with another buddy read, more book reviews, and all the book things.
Until next time.
See ya.